Valhalla, where brave movies go to live forever. While there's so many movie podcasts out there that just focus on the negatives and poking fun at lower budgeted movies, we decided we wanted to be a little different here and only dwell on the positives. And we're not going to do the big Hollywood movies. We're going to do the little movies that can, the brave movies, the movies where the directors and actors and set designers and special effects artists really put themselves out there and attempted something daring and different and independent. So those are the movies that deserve to be Movie Valhalla, and those are the movies we're going to talk about. Welcome again to Movie Valhalla, where brave movies go to live forever. There are so many movie podcasts out there that like to pick on the lower budget movies, the independent films, the little pictures that try and can, like a brave little choo-choo train. They trudge up that hill. But here at Movie Valhalla, we like to celebrate only the good parts of these pictures. And today we got a real train moving up a hill.
Eagle 1 to enforce the control. Eagle 1 to enforce the control. I've got a 6-9er in progress in Sector 13. Terminate with extreme prejudice. I repeat, extreme prejudice.
So with me today is Seth, coming back again.
Hello.
And we got, as always, a special treat for you all. We chose to watch the seminal film, one of the great sci-fi epics of the last century. And, it has space battles, it has magical powers, it's kind of an eternal sort of conflict between good and evil, the classic hero's journey, a wise mentor imparting knowledge to the young hero who must stand up against, the evil villain. And that movie, of course, is Space Mutiny. So Space Mutiny is a movie that stars Reb Brown and Cameron Mitchell, among others. And the basic plot overview is that there's a giant spaceship called the Southern Sun, and it's flying out in space. The people on the Southern Sun are multi-generational space crew, and they're traveling to some distant home. And on the ship, the leader of the, I guess you call it the security forces, he mutinies, and then Reb Brown, who plays a brave pilot, must lead they're not the rebels. I don't know, he leads the establishment, I guess, against the rebels to maintain the ship and to restore order to it. And that's the basic plot, right there. So let's just jump right into it. Seth, what was one of your favorite things about Space Mutiny? What did it do well?
Well, I think if you're looking at it from your classic kind of hero story, I think they did a good job of portraying Reb Brown's character, David Ryder, as your true hero. He comes in, he impresses everybody with his ability to lead immediately. He takes charge. He takes a bad situation and steers it in a good direction. He has good intuitions as a hero.
Classic movie hero.
Yeah, he's a good classic hero, and just from a from a physical standpoint, he portrays that kind of Captain American-esque hero. So.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because many of our listeners probably don't know, but Reb Brown, the blonde giant superhero-looking movie star of countless B action movies, was actually the original Captain America. He starred in a couple different Captain America movies way, way, way back in the day, back when comic book movies were not the billion-dollar franchise, but were instead relegated to very B-movie territory. He actually appeared at the red carpet opening of, I think, The Winter Soldier, but I can't remember which one, kind of as like an honorary guest, since he was the original Captain America. So,
which is very fitting because he looks like Captain America.
He does, yeah, absolutely. So I agree. He does typify a very much a heroic archetype, with his physicality and his presence. I would say for me, getting away from that, I guess a little bit, kind of, but I like the costumes in the movie. It was definitely retro style, futuristic costumes. You know, that sort of '80s retro futurism where everybody's wearing silver spandex and still has giant shoulder pads and all that kind of stuff. But this movie, even though it's obviously a low budget movie, it had tons and tons of costumes. Sometimes people, you know, you're talking about dozens, if not 100 people in a scene, all of which would appear to be custom made costumes. So I really enjoy that aspect of it because I love that '80s futurism kind of stuff. So
It's like watching a nonstop jazzercise video.
which of course is a good thing.
Yes.
Sometimes I close my eyes and I picture heaven, and it's a nonstop jazzercise video. And in the background, you know, playing is Cyndi Lauper. Okay, what else did you like about the movie? What else did it do well?
You know, I think I appreciated while some of the fight scenes were a little over the top. I appreciated
You mean over the railing?
over the railing, certainly. Appreciated the use of the lasers, the guns, the special effects that they used with some of the fight scenes. I think that it was well done given the period of time that this film was made.
And as far as I know, they did the old Star Wars special effects route, not just Star Wars, but everybody, where when you want to have a laser on a screen, back in the days before Adobe After Effects existed, you had to literally draw that onto the frames of film. So some artists had to go through those huge battle scenes with lasers going off everywhere. They had to individually draw all those lasers going out. I think. I assume they used the same technique in this because it felt very Star Wars-ish the way the lasers acted.
Yeah, to me it appeared very futuristic for the time period. I believe that this film was made in maybe the mid to late '80s. So I think they did a fairly good job of keeping up with the times in terms of their special effects.
Yeah, and like I said, obviously on a limited budget, but you know we all have to remember that the original Star Wars, in its own way, was a low-budget film. They had to be creative with how they wanted to envision their world, and the makers of this film, they obviously had a vision, and you know they had to decide, okay, since they couldn't afford giant sets everywhere, it seems like they repurposed an old factory, like maybe an abandoned factory, to use for many of the scenes and the engineering parts of the ship. And obviously, some of the footage in the movie comes from Battlestar Galactica, which has some very nice space battles to begin the movie, which is taken from that. So that's always a fun experience. I would say another thing that I really enjoyed was just seeing Cameron Mitchell again.
And head for the Corona Borealis.
Most people that are B-movie aficionados know that when Cameron Mitchell shows up, it's always a good time.
Well, Captain, can you remember when you were that young? Be damned if I can.
And so he is pretty mobile in this movie. He's seems to be pretty lucid, and he just really knocks it out of the park as the captain of the ship with his not fantastic looking beard, but truly fantastic looking costume. I would say if Captain Picard or Captain Kirk had worn a silver neon multicolored cape and on board their ships, they would have gotten a lot more respect. So
I'd second that too. I think that in terms of a character that really kind of pulled the movie together, he did a good job of being that sturdy figure, where you had your archetypal, hero character, but you also had this, kind of the steward of the ship. He was, in essence, a true captain of the ship, and really did a good job of portraying that in his character and kind of his calmness, his ability to not get riled by the mutiny that was taking place aboard his ship at the time.
Well, David, Good luck.
Yeah, he goes out and he seeks knowledge from the Balerians, which are an enigmatic and fascinating group of all women uh, magic using priestesses, which is where the magical part of the movie comes in there. They seem to have some kind of prophetic knowledge and they can sort of guide destiny aboard the ship. I thought that was really, in a way, like a throwback to the shoot. Is it the Norse legends with the Sisters of Fate? Is that Norse or Greek mythology? You know what I'm talking about?
I
They
do,
have
but
the spinning wheel, the threads of fate, and everything. Well,
no,
whichever one it is, they really felt like that to me, where they were using their magic crystals to see the future, but also to affect it. And try and bring about destruction of evil on board the ship. So just another nice little addition to the movie to make it a little bit more mysterious, rather than just a run-of-the-mill sci-fi action movie starring Reb Brown.
they almost seem kind of like sirens as well, as they were kind of drawing some of the men in to kind of attempting to lure them into their I don't even know what you would call their space, whatever they were at in the ship. They were kind of, the men would just mysteriously kind of show up in there, and you can't go in there, and people would pull them away. You can't go in there. They're these revered women.
It was a real back and forth, in the ship, real, moving conflict as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about, what was one of your favorite scenes in the movie?
Well, I know some people would say that the scene appeared somewhat comical, but to me, I thought it was kind of a clever way of doing a chase scene. The quasi golf cart chasing. I think
The Enforcers?
yes. Given the fact that they were on a low budget, they did a good job. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a classic car chase scene by any stretch of the imagination, but what they were able to pull off with the resources that they had, I think they did a pretty good job of having the carts chasing one another and shooting each other down as they were following one another down in an industrial warehouse. It appeared.
Yeah. So what you're saying, like, I totally agree, and it's one of those things where, yeah, no one's gonna mistake it for the car chase scene in like Ronin or Bullet or something.
Bullet, yeah.
But
But
it is very memorable. It is honestly one of the most memorable chase scenes I've ever seen in any film. And if the movie was just more like running, or even they had regular cars, it wouldn't be nearly as memorable. And so, in its own way, it is an extremely memorable scene. I agree.
exactly. I mean, I think you have to look at these kinds of films like this and not, point out the comedy of it. You have to look at it. That's one thing that you're going to walk away from this film remembering. Whether it be good or bad, it's one of the moments in the film that stands out.
I remember the chase scene in this film with the Enforcers better than I remember the chase scene in any Fast and the Furious movie. So
there you go.
That really says something. It's stuck in my brain forever. Probably when I'm on my deathbed, the last thing I'm going to see as my life flashes before my eyes is just this chase scene over and over again.
And how about for you?
I think my favorite scene of the entire film was in the club, the disco neon 80s space club with hula hoops and spandex and flashing colors and a fog machine going on and all that. It is just perfect. That kitschy 80s futurism is just perfect, absolutely perfect. So, the 80s are so in right now. 80s nostalgia is so in right now, and that scene right there is just, like I said, pitch perfect. And you brought up that it's very similar to the bar kind of scene in Leprechaun 4 on their spaceship. And so I wonder if Leprechaun 4 was kind of inspired by this movie a little bit.
I would venture out to say that there were aspects of this film that were probably borrowed in Leprechaun 4. The bar scene definitely being one of them.
I think that The Last Jedi was partly inspired by this movie. or like, and so I really get the sense that some of the creative decisions in The Last Jedi were kind of based off some things you can find in Space Mutiny.
Yeah, you can go that way. I'm not going to go that way.
Well, I was just thinking about the Pleasure Planet, the casino place.
Sure.
All right, so what's one more scene that you really liked?
Well, we haven't really talked much about the villain of the film.
Calgon.
Elijah Callaghan, I believe, is the villain's name.
His first name's Elijah? Where'd you find that out at?
I am looking on a Wikipedia page.
No one ever calls him that in the movie. Okay, I thought he like a one name person like Cher,
Yeah.
Okay. So,
well, he's known as Callaghan in the film, but
okay.
I think he some of the scenes where he was just really kind of with the laugh and I'm trying to pull out a scene that was really great.
When he was chasing the guy before he threw him off the railing. You said when he stepped out of the shadows?
When he stepped out of the shadows was probably that's a scene that's going to stand out for me when I think about this film in the future.
We must act at once.
What do we do next?
Locate Ryder and the girl, and then wait for my instructions.
Pops out of the shadows, chases the guy down who's got the information that could be detrimental to his mutiny, throws him off the rail, or he says he's going to jump. The character says he's going to jump because he doesn't want to participate in the mutiny, and as he's going to jump, he assists him in throwing him off the ledge. So I'd say that's probably one of the scenes that would stand out for me in the film.
Yeah, helps you know how evil he is. He starts off the movie like causing the death of the brave professor. And then just gets more evil from there basically as the movie goes on. I don't know if it's a scene. I guess it's just more a thing I liked was the amount of background extras putting in the work to make things like the bridge set seem busy. And I liked how they really stretched their budget. They had the keyboards mounted on the walls. They had some flashing lights. They had regular computers sort of disguised as futuristic stuff. And then they had their extras obviously milling around in the background to make it seem like a busy hub of the spaceship. And so I, just as a low budget filmmaker myself, I appreciate the effort that went into that, because it's one of those things where if it wasn't there, you would notice. You'd be like, wow, the bridge of their spaceship is like a single keyboard and there's 3 people there. But they really put in the effort to make it seem, busy and crowded and lived in. So I thought they did a good job on that.
And it didn't look like the extras were just kind of standing around. It felt like they actually had they were contributing to the overall atmosphere of the scene, so to speak.
Absolutely. All right. So I think this is going to be an extra short review because we got right to the point. So how about what advice could you give from the movie as a character from the movie? So first, what character are you, and then what's your advice?
Dr. Leah Jansen.
Uh-huh.
The ship captain's daughter.
The future Mrs. Reb Brown.
Correct. And I won't do it in her voice, but if I were to choose, some advice. So she was in love with the professor who dies at the beginning.
Well, I think he was her mentor, is what it was. It was that kind of relationship.
It was a mentor. It wasn't a love relationship.
Yeah, mentor.
Okay. Nevertheless, she was very fond of the professor.
Oh my God, the professor.
And was very angry at Reb Brown's character, Dave Ryder. And so I would say her advice would be, because she ultimately ends up falling in love with Dave Ryder in the film, her advice would be, to, when life gives you lemons, to turn it into lemonade and not to dwell on a bad situation and to ultimately try to find the good in the character that you that you probably don't necessarily, don't have an affinity for at the beginning of the film. So
When life gives you lemons, you turn them into bench presses.
exactly. Well, I was going to go that route, but I felt like this was probably a better option because the other option would.
My advice from Dave Ryder, Reb Brown's character, is just general life advice, really. And that's to move, move, move! Go, go, go! Which he said many times in the film. And then I think to round us out here at the end, we're going to both do at the same time our best evil cowgun laugh. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
You're stepping out of the shadows. 1, 2, 3. All right. And so with that evil laugh, so comes to the close our little suggestion that all of you all out there go and watch Space Mutiny as soon as you can. It is a hidden gem in the sci-fi space opera community. And like I said, it is a movie you will not soon forget.
World built the
Dave, this is crazy.
The incoming Viper squadron proceed to the...
What do we do next?
All on board, congratulations.
But you can. We're looking for the Enforcer's headquarters.
Well, David, good luck.
We must now focus on internal...
There they go.
Recalling Stingray fighters.
Roger, Southern Sun. Let's go, go, go!
I can promise you that the costumes, the set pieces, the chase scenes, the action, it will stick with you. And good on them for taking, not doing the easy route and just making another, we got scientists trapped in this lab which looks like a factory and they got to fight the predator alien again. Like so many Reb Brown movies, they went the whole space opera route, and they tried to make their own sort of smaller scale Star Wars. And so you got to give them props for that, which is why they're on Movie Valhalla.
And a final act for Reb Brown as well. So if you're looking at seeing the end of a generation of actors, I think that's a nice way to kind of put a cap on his career. So
well, he does pop up again later in some other movies. Like, he was in this one Bigfoot movie. I forget what it was. But like, it's really weird though. It's like he popped in this Bigfoot movie and he's older and stuff like that. He wasn't the main character. He was the sheriff, but he's actually a really engaging presence. It's honestly, in that way, it's like seeing Schwarzenegger come back again after years. And just when he's back again, you remember like how charming and watchable he is. So Reb Brown does have a similar quality, obviously, besides his physique, to Schwarzenegger. So I would actually like to see him in more stuff now that he's older, because he's a little bit, and since he's not the big action star anymore, now he's just sort of like this, kind of goofy, good-natured sort of presence in a lot of movies that he pops up in now and then. So, but yeah. So thank you for stopping by and talking with us again, Seth. And
absolutely.
To all our entire dozens of possible listeners out there and viewers, hope you enjoyed this episode of Movie Valhalla, where brave movies go to live forever. Talk to you later.